Dustin Brow of Brow Brothers Brewing Company shows us around their new location in Marshall and talks about the rise of craft beer culture.
My name is Dustin Brow. I am head brewer and CEO here at Brow Brothers Brewing Company. On a day-to-day basis, I'm taking care of everything from administrative duties to fixing things to literally being the bottle washer at times. So we all wear a lot of hats here, so and my position is no different. So this is the mill. This is where we crack all of our barley in half and get it ready for the rest of the process. Roughly, this batch today we're making is moo juice. It will take right around 1,200 pounds of grain as a whole. Barley, oats, a little bit of milk sugar at the end process, but this is the basic ingredients in beer. So this guy's a mash tun. It's actually a combination mash lauter tun. We do two processes in this tank. The first process is just steeping the grain with hot water. That's going to turn our starch into sugar. After it's been, after that starch has been converted into sugar, we're literally going to wash it off of the grain. So we're going to separate solid from liquid. Inside here at the very top, there's a rotating sparge arm that is going to just wash all the sugar off. There's a filter on the bottom. We send it into this tank right here just to take specific gravity readings, make sure the color's right, make sure the temperature is where we need it to be. Once it's good to go in this tank, then we can send it over to the next tank. Behind me, Ryan's at the boil kettle. Pretty simple process in there. Depending on the beer, we'll boil it from an hour to 2 hours. A lot happens chemically in the beer, but it's just a boil kettle. We'll add hops. If a beer needs a spice or any other ingredient like that, for instance, we do a beer which takes orange peel and coriander, gets added in the boil kettle. Once it's done boiling, we're going to spin it really fast in there. That's called whirlpooling. That takes all of the solids and makes it into a cone in the middle on the bottom. Then we're going to take the wort, which is unfermented beer, through two heat exchangers. We'll inject it with pure oxygen, because when we boiled it, we lost all the oxygen in the wort. And then we're going to follow this hose right here to one of our fermenting vessels. This barrel, or this tank, holds about roughly 1,000 gallons of finished beer, or unfinished beer right now. This tank is glycol jacketed and insulated as well, so we're constantly pumping coolant around here because when beer ferments, it's going to create carbon dioxide, alcohol, and also heat. And so if we don't cool it down, it's going to get really hot. This particular beer we're going to ferment at about 68 degrees, and if we were to not cool it down, it'd ferment at just under 100 degrees. So we're sending the beer into this tank right now in this hose, and it'll take 2 batches to fill it up, but once all is said and done, this will hold about 60 kegs worth of beer. From there, after fermentation is done, it's going to go across the brew house to a finishing tank like this. We call this a finishing tank, a bright tank. You'll hear them called government tanks, conditioning tanks. So after the beer has been fermented out, it's going to go here to finish. It'll get carbonated, it'll get chilled down. You can see all the condensation on there. And then it's ready to be either kegged or bottled or sent directly to the tap room. So we're going to follow the beer line to the bottling line, which is right at my feet. And this is our bottling line. Our packaging area in the building is about 7,000 square feet, but behind me is the filler. This fills the bottles, it crowns the bottles, it'll send it on its way through a pasteurizer. Some of our beers are pasteurized. And then at the very end, we've got a pressure-sensitive labeler where the bottles get labeled and then hand-packed and ready for shipment. And this is still very much a family brewery. I've got an older brother who helps us with logistics. My younger brother's our head of IT, if you want to call him that. And so everybody really fills a part. My sister-in-law works here. My dad calls himself head of quality control. I don't know what that means. Mary, my wife, is our general manager, basically. We went to school for hotel restaurant, and one of the ways that we thought we could get people to come to our restaurant was to have beer, and this was in the mid-90s, and so craft beer was still just really growing, and it was really kind of on the ground floor in terms of the industry. Or we decided to kind of focus on the beer production a little bit, because we told ourselves that if we went into beer production as opposed to the restaurant side of it, we wouldn't have to work nights and weekends. Well, of course, that didn't work out so well, but we actually started as a brew pub in Lucan, which is about 200 people, about 20 minutes east of here. When we established the brewery, I think the first or second summer, we planted a hop yard. We kind of put both feet in a little bit because we planted 11 different varieties of hops, right around 1,200 hop plants. And I think today it's still the largest hop yard in the upper Midwest, at least in Minnesota. And so what we do with that is we'll pull all our hops down every fall and make a fresh hop beer out of it. And we call it 100-Yard Dash because at one time the hop yard was literally 100 yards from the boil kettle. So it was great because we could pull those hops down and literally, you know, if we wanted to, we could have them in the kettle an hour after we harvested them, a half hour. It always depended on the variety. And so, we inadvertently made ourselves farmers. A really important ingredient in beer is hops, and it seems like it's getting more and more important because we're not just using them for bittering anymore. Originally, you used to use hops to balance the sweetness, the inherent sweetness in beer, or from barley malt, and so it was kind of the balancer. Nowadays, we use them for flavor. We use them for aroma. They are a great antibacterial agent, so they'll actually help the beer stay fresher or better longer. So we use hops for quite a few things. Nowadays, the specialty hop market has changed so much that they're actually breeding varieties for specific flavors. I can tell you just from '99, when I started commercial brewing, till now, the usage of hops is absolutely totally different. Today we're looking to make up for a lost year because last year was a moving year. We spent all of 2013 just getting the brewery packed up and moved and then setting it up again. But I'd like to brew about 5,000 barrels this year, and our system is capable of probably, with our newer fermenters, we could probably pump out maybe 10 to 12,000 barrels of beer a year. So that's roughly, 20,000 keg equivalents. And we'd like to be up to there somewhere in the next 2 or 3 years. Tap rooms are kind of a new animal for Minnesota, and so on our scale, tap rooms just became legal a couple years ago. And so originally, it's funny because when we were looking to upgrade and to get a bigger building, originally we had no consideration for tap room because we couldn't. And so now, when you establish a brewery or plan a brewery, you have to take into consideration the fact that it can be a public place. It used to be you would just put your brewery in the industrial part of town, and it didn't really matter for the most part how it looked or how it appeared to the public. But now we're actually designing them and locating them with that in mind so that we can get people in here to see what we're doing. Part of the beauty of a small brewery is that you can feel connected to it. You can literally go into that brewery, meet the people who make the beer, talk shop with them. If you're a home brewer, it's a great place to swap ideas. And so you can really feel connected to the people that are making your beer, which especially in today's atmosphere or environment with people wanting to go local, it's just a really good fit for it. Brewing has been so good to us, not just myself, but our family and the area and Lucan and now Marshall. We honestly feel really privileged to be doing something that is a little bit atypical out here, and it's fun not only because you're working with beer, but also because we joke about the fact that we have to do so many different things and wear so many hats. One day we might be brewing beer, the next day we might be bottling, the next day we might be fixing something. It's never a dull moment.